we want to talk about how to raise capital as a syndicator. So it kind of depends on how far along you are in your real estate journey. But really specifically, who is this for? This webinar is for people who are multifamily syndicators and are either struggling to raise capital or never raised capital, don't have a system or process to raise capital, but they want to learn how to raise millions of dollars for their deals. It's going to help them get unstuck. Now, one of the challenges that people have is when they get into these apartment investing programs or these syndication programs is they talk about how easy it is to fund your deals, how quickly these gurus funded their deals, and they tell you got to raise capital, but they don't show you how to do it. There's this huge gap of when it comes to the idea of raising capital and then how to actually raise capital for your deals. So if you're new and you just don't know where to start, or if you've been in this space for a little while and you've just really struggled with raising capital, it's not your fault. Okay. It's because, most people don't actually show you how to raise capital. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through step by step some specific examples of where most people struggle. And then I'm going to show you the big gaps that people have. So I am going to show you the gaps. I'm going to help you identify exactly what it is you need to do to be raising capital. I'm going to say on autopilot, really, like if you build these steps in, this is what's going to make the difference between I can't raise capital and I've created a bunch of excitement and it's a lot easier for me to raise capital. Okay. Does that sound cool? If I can show you guys how to do that, is that going to help you out? Can I get it in the chat? Can you say, yes, this is going to help me? This is exactly what I came here for. Give me a yes. I'm big on participation, guys. This webinar is for you. It really, really is for you. So the best way you can get the answers to your questions and get unstuck wherever you're at is participate, be involved in the chat, ask questions because we want to help you be successful. So I can sit up here and I can talk about this all day till I'm blue in the face, but if you're not engaged or you're not asking questions to make sure that's going to work for you, then I can show you how to do it, but unless you're willing to show up and do the work, then maybe it's not the right fit for you. But so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you exactly how to break that down. But in order for me to do that, I want to show you where people struggle. Okay. So stick around to the end and I will show you every single thing you need to do to build a capital raising machine that's gonna fund your deals on autopilot. Okay. So all right, here is capital raising mistake number one. And I know because this happened to me. I joined a multifamily syndication program and they taught me so much. I think it was like 18 or 20 modules on how to underwrite deals, how to offer deals, how to work with the lenders. And of all those modules, there was one on raising capital, and it was about 45 minutes and it was high level and it said, you need to go raise capital. So in that program, I had a coach, and the coach said, "Hey, here's what you need to do: go to networking events, get some business cards from other people, and then however many people are in your investor database, you'll take a percentage of that, and that's how much capital you'll be able to raise." So I always keep on my desk, here's a box of business cards. This is my reminder that this process right here in and of itself doesn't work. A lot of people, the mistake they make is they say, all right, cool, I've joined this program, I'm getting the education. All I got to do is show up to these networking events, tell people what I do, and it's just going to rain money. Like I'm going to be able to make so much money. What happened to me was we got a deal under contract, and we need to raise about, I don't know, about $10 million or so. So we had our webinar, sent it out to two or 300 people that are in my database, right, of my business cards. And guess what happened? That awkward silence right there, that's what happened to me. It was actually, I got like nothing back. I had one person invest in that deal. Now it's not because I hadn't gone to networking events. It's not because I hadn't gotten business cards. I had built my investor database. But there's just this big gap that I had. I told my partners, I said, man, I suck at this. And they said, ah, no, don't worry. Like it takes some time, but they didn't actually like fill in the gaps for me. And here's the biggest mistake I see most people make is so they think, hey, I've got the education. I'm going to go talk about it. I'm going to tell people what I'm doing, but I got networking events and then I get a deal under contract. I'm going to host this webinar and it's just like the money's going to come in. But the reality of it is you end up scrambling to raise capital. And I see it over and over and over and over again. And so then what happens is you have to reach out to other people to help you raise capital. And you get in this cycle and you get five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 people on a deal trying to raise capital because all that was done was focusing on this. So, real quick in the chat, how many of you have ever tried to raise capital? Can I just give me a yes or a no if you've tried to raise capital for your deals before? Let's see here. So I got a yes. I got a couple yeses. So if you have, now can I also get in the chat how much capital have you been able to raise for your deals? And if it's zero, that's okay. That's why you're here. Or if it's a small number, that's fine. Like just share with me how much capital have you been able to raise? Did you struggle raising capital? All right. So we have is that 100,000? All right. So $100,000. You probably wished it was $1 million though, right? I think we can safely say like it was $1 million. Or maybe you just did your raise and it was just within the last, couple months and you just got into the space. But $100,000 isn't going to get you where you want to be. So what do we do next, right? So what is the next natural thing that everybody wants to do here? And that is they say, well, okay, so the networking event kind of worked. I met some people, but you know what I need to do? I know the missing piece here. I gotta have a website. I need a website. It's got to show my track record of me and my partners. It's got to have some information about me. I've got to have this beautiful about page and about our mission and our values. Throw some numbers up there about what the returns look like. And it's going to rain money. Like I'm just going to be able to raise all kinds of capital. So, that's one of the things that happened to me is I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. And I spent a bunch of money. I had this really nice website created. I went and got some videos recorded. I did all of these things, go and get a deal under contract, host a webinar, and then what happened? Scrambled to raise capital. I had not solved my problem. All I had done is spent money and I didn't have a process to actually raise capital. I didn't actually get, more people into my pipeline to invest by creating a website. I actually didn't even know how to drive people to my website. There's just a few people I said, hey, go check out my website, but I didn't learn how to move traffic. So mistake number two is, okay, well, I got to go to a networking event, but for people to take me seriously, I got to have a website. No, that's actually not true. It's not going to make a difference for you if you don't know how to use it. Okay, so what happens next? What's the next thing that we think we need to do? This is another common one I see people do, and I'm guilty of this as well, is we say, well, okay, so my problem is going to be the networking events. It's cool. I go meet people. If I built this website, then people will start to take me more seriously. I'm going to look a whole lot more professional. What's missing is I need to start posting on social media, but I don't really have a plan. There's a bunch of stuff out there, but I'm just going to start posting some stuff on social media. And then, people will be able to see me in a different spot because I go to networking events and I got a website and I go on social media and I'll start to grow this following and more people will take me seriously because I'm talking about, these deals I'm investing in. But again, there's no real plan of action here. You say, well, I do this thing and then what? Like, what is your plan? If you go to networking events, what is your plan? If you build a website, what is your plan? If you're posting on social media, what is your plan? Like, how are you getting people excited to invest with you? The problem again here is that you're doing these things without really clear direction or intention. You're kind of just hoping that it all works. So again, what happens? We get a deal under contract. We host a webinar. It's not like there's a whole lot more people that know about you. And if they do know about you, what have you done to warm them up? What have you done to nurture them? What have you done to get some type of commitment from them before you have a deal. Chances are you probably haven't done that. And this is where you're going to scramble to raise capital again. So what I'm telling you is these things alone are not going to solve your problem. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Have you experienced any of these yourself where you're like, oh, I've got to have a networking event, I got to build a website, or if I post on social media, like this is probably going to solve my problem, but you just feel that it's not really moving the needle for you? Because chances are, if you're here, you are struggling to raise capital. You don't know what steps you need to take to raise capital. And what I'm going to show you here in just a moment, I'm going to show you the exact steps that you need to focus on to raise capital, but more importantly, how you learn to raise capital before you have a deal. So can I see in the chat, just put yes, would you like to learn how to raise capital before you have a deal? I'm not saying I'm not saying wait till you got a deal and then go ask people. You got to learn how to ask people before you have a deal. You got to learn how to get a commitment before you have a deal. All right, so now we go on to the next steps here. This is the right way to raise capital. So what I'm going to show you is a marketing funnel. Are you guys familiar with a marketing funnel? The reason why I asked that is because when I started, and for several years, even after I hired a business coach who was helping me build a website, nobody ever explained this concept of a marketing funnel. And the way you raise capital is by building a marketing and sales funnel. Okay. It does not have to be complicated, but you need to have clear intention of what you're doing and what the next step is. So, at a very high level, here's what a marketing funnel is. You have to make people aware of you, then you give them a call to action to move to the next step. Then they start getting educated and they get into the consideration phase, and then you have to give them a call to action to move them to the next step. And that's where you get them to close at the bottom of the funnel. And then after that, there's some more nurturing that takes place. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each of these layers of the funnel and why they are important to move people where you want them to go. And the biggest thing I want you to take away from all of this is if you come back here, what you'll see is some of this is top of funnel, but then there's nothing going on here that really moves people through a process to ever get them excited or to get them, to give you some type of commitment before you have a deal. All you're doing is chatting high level about it, but there's a big, huge gap right here that you're not doing. If you solve for this problem, this missing piece, then it makes things a lot easier. So let's go through that. Are you guys ready for that? Is it all right if I show you the steps you need to take? Okay. So top of funnel, like I said, this is where you're building awareness. And so one of the things I'll share with you as an example is a webinar in and of itself, like the webinar is actually not top of funnel. Getting people to show up to the webinar, that is top of funnel. So there's a difference here. One is awareness. Think of it like you're driving down the freeway and you see a billboard for a new restaurant. Okay. That is your top of funnel. So you didn't even know there was a new restaurant in town, but you saw a billboard. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. That's what you're doing. Okay, that's top of funnel. This is getting people aware of what it is you're doing. That's it. That's all you're trying to do. So how do we do that? There's multiple layers you can do here. One is go to networking events. It's a fantastic way to connect with people. Build an online presence. So is a website important? Yes, it is. And social media optimization. And there's things you can actually go in and do to your social media profiles that when people find you, they have a very clear understanding of who you are, what you do, and how you help solve a problem for them. And then another option here, this is one I actually like a lot, is paid ads. If you've ever tried to do anything in social media that's organic, it can take a very long time to get the traction. It does not take a lot of money to run ads, and it ends up exactly in front of the people who you're trying to target. But the point of these is not to meet people and then immediately get them to invest in a deal. The point is to make them aware of what you're doing and then drive traffic. If you have a website, you're driving traffic to your website. or social media optimization. You're driving traffic to your website or you're driving them to a webinar. And then paid ads is like the king of driving traffic. So the top of funnel, think of it like you're driving down the freeway. You've got a billboard in front of a whole bunch of people that now are learning who you are, what you do, and what problem you solve. So in a restaurant, what problem do they solve? Hunger, right? It's very, very simple. So you say, hey, this is me, this is what I do, and I solve this problem for you. Now all of a sudden people are like, I had no idea Andy does this. I had no idea Mamadou does this. I didn't even know that. That's interesting. I'd like to learn more. You're piquing interest here. So from here, what you do is you drive traffic. So you're going to invite them in the restaurant scenario, you're going to invite them to your restaurant. In this case, maybe what we're doing is we're inviting them to a webinar, or we've got a lead magnet where we're starting the education process. And this really is where most people fail to have any process in place. So if that's you, pay attention. The moral of the story here, when it comes to the middle of the funnel, again, think of this from a marketing perspective, is your job is to start providing education. Why is that important? Because most people, there's two things that happen. They either don't know about you and they need to understand what makes you unique, different, special. Or two, most people are only familiar with traditional investment types, such as 401k, stocks, bonds. Okay. So a lot of your education has to be around what we call these alternative investments. So what you're doing is on the top, you're making people aware of what it is you're doing, and then you're giving them a call to action, which literally is you move them into the next step. Okay. So you cannot go from top of funnel, hey, I just met you, to invest in a deal unless you have these steps in place to provide the education and the nurturing. So your job here in the middle of funnel, as soon as somebody's aware of you, is to educate. Okay. And there's different ways we can do this. So we can do this through some type of recurring webinar. I love recurring webinars. They're easy to do. They're low hanging fruit. They're educational in nature. All you're doing is getting someone to realize, oh, I had no idea this was even an option. This is great. So recurring webinars, you can pick a few different topics or just go with one. But you want to do this, I would say at least once a month, you want to have some type of recurring webinar. Online communities are also great because now people get the time to know, like, and trust you. And within an online community, you can create shorter videos. A different way to think about an online community is YouTube. Okay, now while it might not be a community where you're going in and have boards and forums and things like that, you still end up with followers and you still have educational content. And short videos on YouTube are huge. It is a big part of what I do in my funnel as I'm meeting with people, is we share with them some educational videos. Those videos live out on YouTube, okay? And oftentimes we get subscribers. So a big part of our education strategy is through YouTube videos. And we do recurring webinars. And we also do email nurturing. All of these things, what you have to realize is people consume information in different ways. Does that make sense? Some people like to go to webinar. Some people like to watch videos, and some people like to read emails, or maybe like to read a blog post. But the point of all of this is you're providing additional education. You're moving someone from, I had no idea, to, oh, wow, this is all starting to make sense. Your goal is you provide so much education that somebody says, wow, this is a no-brainer. Okay, this is a no-brainer for me. Like, if everything you're saying is true, why would I not do this? That is your goal. That is the level of education you need to provide. Okay. Is this helping you guys out? Can I get in the chat? Is this helping you guys out? Take a quick water break. Let me see in the chat. Is this helping you guys out? Also, don't forget, if you have questions, ask your questions. Put them in the chat because we're going to answer those at the end. So, all right, great. It's definitely helping you guys out. So what we do is now we provide this level of education. We've got people so warmed up so that by the time I get someone on a call, and this happened to me earlier today. We had been doing some outreach using Andy. This is a no-brainer. I love it. So we've been doing some outreach. One of our strategies is leveraging LinkedIn. We did a webinar a couple of weeks back. We're leveraging the online community aspect of LinkedIn, right? So we're engaging with them and we're provided some education. So we actually provided a couple of videos. So by the time I got on the call with this person this morning, they had already consumed quite a bit of my content. I'd never met with this person before, but they already, know, like, and trust me because I've been providing this level of education. It is very specific to move someone from I don't know anything to, yep, just like Andy said, this is a no-brainer. So then we move them, we have to give them a specific call to action. So with this person that we were chatting with on LinkedIn, we said, hey man, well, if you're interested in learning more about, if this might be a good fit for you, why don't we hop on a call? Okay. That's what we call the bottom of funnel. Very, 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 very important here, guys. The bottom of the funnel is you have to get this figured out. If you don't figure this out, your ability to raise capital is really, really, really hindered. The bottom of the funnel is where you actually close. This is the sales process. So everything above this is marketing. This is the sales process. Now we have to do what's called appointment setting. What this means is, just like the example I was using, we doing outreach on LinkedIn, leveraging that community, creating awareness. We provided education, and we get to a point in the conversation where we say, why don't you hop on a call with me? Okay, you're call to action. You're moving them from one stage of the funnel to the next. Okay, it is it is not hard to do. People are just very uncomfortable doing it. So it takes practice, but it's actually a very, very easy thing to do. There's a technical term called the red line. When you get to the sales part, people get nervous or uncomfortable. When you're doing it over chat, it's a lot easier. When you do it over the phone, you get this feeling, but it's called, getting past the red line where you're starting to move into the actual sales process. But you've got to get to the point where you have some type of a process where you say, let's book a call. Then when you book a call, what I love to do here, now that I've got a call booked, is I say, watch this 15, 20-minute video before we hop on a call, and it's going to help answer a lot of your questions. Again, by the time they get on a call, they don't have a whole lot of questions. It's like Andy said, it's a no-brainer. That is your goal here, okay? So you're moving people through. What you need to do now, once you have the appointment set or conceptually the appointment set, you have to do a either one-to-one or one-to-many sales. Okay. And I don't have a better way to say this, but it's a sale. It is a marketing and sales process. At this point, what happens is you're doing this in a one-on-one capacity where you're meeting with people one-on-one, you're diving deeper into their assessment and where they're at, and is it a good fit for them? Or you can do what's called one-to-many. And so one-to-many might be you're on a webinar, you're hosting a webinar or educational, and you invite all of these people, say, hey, if you'd like to fill out this form and let me know how much you'd like to invest. I find when you're talking about large investments, $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, a one-on-one conversation works pretty well. Where you can hybrid this is, let's say you're at an actual networking event. Let's say you are the speaker. It's the concept of moving people to the back of the room. So you're having the conversation with a bunch of people. You're getting into the details of what it would look like to invest with you. You give example scenarios, and then you say, all right, so for any of you that would be interested in seeing our future deals and potentially investing, go see Nona in the back of the room and she'll get your information. And then we'll schedule another call from there. So that would be where you're one-to-one versus one-to-many. But the point of this is what you're doing here is you're getting a soft commitment. So this is before I ever have a deal. I'm taking people from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel, and then I'm getting them get on a call, hang out on a call with me. We're going to talk about where you're at, where you're at currently with your investments. What are your goals with your investment? What are some of your gaps and challenges? What does that look like for you? And if I think it's a good fit, then I'll just show you exactly what it looks like to invest with us. At that point, at the end of the conversation, you're saying, when we have a deal, if it was to look like this, would you be interested in investing? And you got to learn to stay quiet. Um, you got to learn to stay quiet. And then what happens is they say either yes or no. If you've done your job right, the answer is going to be yes. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but what I can tell you is if you follow these steps, these are the exact same steps that my team and I follow, By the time someone gets on a call with you, you're probably going to have a 90% success rate in closing. Okay. The people that are not interested, they will get filtered out before they get to this point. The people that actually take the time to get on a call with you, if you do these other educational pieces, they're already pretty sold. You're just answering some questions for them. But this is the point where you say, all right, cool. Well, for our next deal, if everything looks like it's a good fit for you, how much do you think you would be, interested in investing? And this is, you give them options. You're already managing expectations. You say it's 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, or, $1 million. You give them options. You're planting the seed. So that really is, that is the mechanics of getting somebody to invest with you before you have a deal. Now, they're not wiring money. It's not going sitting in a fund, not collecting interest, but when you're getting their commitment before you have a deal. Okay. So is this helpful, guys? All right, Andy, I'm going to circle back around to your comment here about YouTube, because it's actually pretty easy to do, to make some YouTube videos. I'll give you a nice cheat code where you're not creating like, professional YouTube videos, but we'll circle back around to that. Okay. All right. So this is really it. So you got to start at the top of the funnel, make people aware. You got to have this billboard so people can see while you're driving down the road, and then you have to have a call to action. Hey, come in this Thursday, whatever it is. You're going to be running a webinar. Something, you're going to be at a networking event or running a network event, a meetup group, but you have to move people through, and that's where you start the education process. And you need to have, a few different opportunities for education. But then at the end of the education process, or during the education process, you say, hey, for those of you that are ready, book a call. We're going to talk more about what this looks like. Okay, no pressure. We're just going to see where you're at, and if it makes sense, great. All right, so this is how you get your soft commitments. This is where you say, hey, I'm going to submit an offer on this deal. I think I can raise $1 million. I think I can raise $2 million. This is it. This is the exact process. Now you're like, Steven, this is great, but what about when I get that soft commitment to when I have that deal? So this is another layer I like to put in, and this is what I call a nurturing layer. You're doing additional education at this point. There are different levels of education. The first level, in when you're warming people up in the middle of the funnel, it's relatively high level. Okay, you're just explaining concepts. You're moving them from what they know or don't know about the stock market to the world of alternative investments. Okay, that's how that works. Let me just show you how the money works. Let me show you what the risks are. Let me show you how you mitigate that. Okay, high level. Then when you have a deal, when you share those deals, there's some technical terms that you generally share on those deals. And so, for example, you're going to have IRR, cash on cash, equity multiple, hold time. Okay. Your job at this layer in nurturing is to provide additional education. It's additional education, right? Because you want to be top of mind, and you want them to feel comfortable investing in that next deal. So another way to think of it is, handle the objections before you have your next deal. They've given you a soft commitment. They're going to have more questions before you have a deal. Your job here is to think about their objections. What are those things that are going to keep them from investing in the deal? And you provide education on that very specifically. You can do that again through email automations. You can do it through webinars. And a great way to do this is, if you're underwriting deals, even if you're not closing those deals, share information about the deals you're underwriting. Share information about, hey, we looked at this deal. It didn't get us the returns we wanted. The equity multiple was only this, so we passed on it. Your job is to show them that you are an advocate and a great steward for their money. Okay, so you have a lot of opportunity to just share what it is you're working on. It doesn't have to be the super elaborate emails. Just share what you're working on, okay? And that can be through a webinar, but you're just educating them, all right? So now they're going to be hot, they're going to be ready, and then what happens is you get a deal under contract. You're going to notify your investors. You're going to host a webinar, and because you've done all of these other things along the way that nobody else is doing, that's when it starts to rain money. That's how you become fully funded very quickly on your deals. All right. So what's important here is there's this big middle piece that people are just forgetting. Or they don't even know how to do it. That was me. I didn't know how to do it. Nobody ever explained to me what needed to take place in order for me to raise capital. Okay. Do you guys see the gap there? Can you see how there's just this big gap in what you're currently doing and what currently being taught and the steps that it takes to raise? Let me put it in a little bit different perspective. So let's say you are the person who's going to be investing in a deal. You've got, a juicy $100,000 that you want to invest in a deal. You got two deals get presented to you at the exact same time. They look the same. They're both 100 units. They're both about $10 million. Both have about the same returns. But the difference of those is one person, they took a lot of time to educate you. You got to know them. You got on a couple calls with them. You actually gave them a soft commitment and they took the time to answer your questions. And the other person you haven't heard from in a year. Maybe you met them once. Maybe you got their business card at a networking event and you've never heard from them again. Who are you going to choose to invest with? The answer is the person that took the time to do these additional steps. What's great about it is a lot of this stuff can be automated. You can actually set up a lot of these things to be automated. So you can set up your emails to be automated. You build them once. With now, you can leverage AI to create a nice email sequence to talk about certain topics. You build it once, somebody comes into your funnel, and these emails just come out. Okay. You go do your webinars. You create 2 or 3 webinars. You do them live the first several times so you can get better at it. But you can actually even set those up. So those are on demand. So those are automated. So while you might be thinking, wow, there's a lot of steps there, the reality of it is you can automate a lot of it. And that, when you automate a lot of it, when you build a process for it, that is how you start to build a capital raising machine that runs on autopilot. And what happens is people just start to come through your funnel. And when you meet someone new, okay, I just need to get them into my funnel. And then they start following these steps. To my point, that's where I know that by the time I get someone on a call as a potential investor for the first time, there's a pretty good chance they're going to say yes. There's a really good chance they're going to say yes. Now, they might not be ready to invest in a deal right then and there, but they're pretty committed. They're very committed at that point because they already know so much. You've already provided so much education. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I am going to start breaking down some of the things that are involved in setting this up. Okay. If you've got questions, additional questions about this funnel, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Real quick though, is this helpful, guys? Is this helpful for you to see how to build a capital raising funnel? Can I get a yes? Heck, even a no if it's not helpful for you, but can I get a yes in the chat? Remember, this is for you guys. James says yes. I appreciate it, James. All right, Mama do yes. Andy, I know you said it's a no-brainer already. Ivan says yes. I appreciate it, guys. Okay, so this is important. Okay, so you now have, as I promised, these are the steps, these are the layers that you need to build in your capital raising process. So the next thing I want to do is I want to jump over and I'm going to show you. I am gonna show you the reality of this, okay? And you can do this. It can get a little complicated though, all right? So what you need to do is there are some things you need to build your funnels in your tech stack. I don't want you to get too overwhelmed, but yes, it can become a little complicated. So you do need some type of CRM. That's a customer relationship management tool. As we saw, you will need to do some um, email outreach. This is great because it's automation. The SMS texting, right? There's a service out here. The reason why this is important because if nothing else, you can send out reminders. Somebody registered for a webinar, here's a reminder. Somebody's scheduled a call with you, here's a reminder. Okay, you got a new deal. I want to let you know about it through text because people get a lot of emails these days. The most efficient way you can actually get in front of somebody is through texting. So that's why this one is important. You need to be able to set appointments through some type of calendar function. Very, very, very important. Landing pages. And why are landing pages important? When you have a deal, for example, you're going to want a landing page. You're going to want to highlight features of your deal and allow people to watch a video, click on your offering page, go to the deal room. So that's why you would want to have a landing page. And you do want to end up having a website, okay? It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be elaborate, but it is something people are going to go check out. Social media, I mentioned it. You want to be smart about that. And I can tell you from experience, it can take a lot of time and effort, but you can use another tool to do bulk creation or bulk management of social media scheduling. Um, and then there's a social media auto reply. And this is where you build a lead magnet and and then what happens is somebody you say, hey, you want to learn how to, invest passively, comment passive in the comments below, and then you reply and you say, go to my page and fill out this information. If you want to do membership hosting, and this is optional, you can do this, but you can also leverage YouTube, and you want to do some type of a soft commitment form. This is a big deal. This is your list of people who've given you a commitment. You can use Google or Monday.com. We also like to do surveys. And then it's always nice to know, like, what does your reporting look like? And then to bring all of it together, you can use a tool called Zapier. And Zapier is a way because you've got these other systems to bring it together, right? But and these are my team and I have been using almost all of these. Maybe there's a couple of things we didn't have because of the tech stack that we were using, but we had to use Zapier to bring it all together. But here's what we've done to make capital raising a whole lot easier for you. Okay. So if you like what you saw in that funnel and it all makes sense to you, and you don't want to have to go manage all of these different things, but you understand the value of it, what we have is we actually have a tool called RaiseGenius.ai. And what that tool does is it brings all of these things together under one roof. And it really simplifies what you have going on because it's all there. And it actually saves you quite a bit of money because you're not having to pay for all these other services. So we do that by using a tool called RaiseGenius. It's the platform we have to put all of that together. Okay. So we take all of the complication and we eliminate that by using this RaiseGenius.ai. So what I want to do now is I want to talk to you about what's included with RaiseGenius.ai. So RaiseGenius.ai, real quick, is it is the platform. It is, think of it like the vehicle that you would use to raise capital. It is how you build the process and the machine that's going to help you raise capital on autopilot. All right. What happens if you said, hey, Steven, this is fantastic. I'm really interested in getting Raise Genius. Well, what else is included in that? Because I don't know if I just get the software, is it going to work for me? Is it gonna get me where I need to be? So here's what I know. Here's what I understand is it's more than just having the software in place. What you need to get there is support. You need guidance and you need training, not only how to set some of it up, but like, hey, this is great. I know what the pieces are, but how do I implement this? How do I have that conversation? What does my pitch deck need to look like? What does my webinar need to include? What should I have in my emails? So that's what you get with Raise Genius is you actually get access to training. You get access to a community. You get access to twice weekly calls, and you get access to a team that's going to help you get everything set up and running. So we take all of the guesswork out and we just plug in a capital raising process for you and make it a lot easier and streamline everything. Okay. That's what we're doing with the RaiseGenius.ai platform. So let me answer some of these questions here. What is this? Advanced CRM and investor funnel. So it's a done for you CRM, high converting funnels tailored specifically for capital raising from passive investors. Okay. That's what it is. What do? We meet twice a week. We do live group coaching calls every week, and we cover these different strategies, and we help train you on the systems. We show you the scripts of how to do outreach. We show you the real world examples of what we know is working for us and others. Show you how to do nurturing. We show you how to close investors. And the other thing we do is Q&A. So as an example, somebody in the group, been working with them on setting up a pitch deck for soft commitments and an overview. They had a in-person meetup over the weekend, and they text me on Sunday morning and said, hey man, I got $150,000 in commitments from that meetup and I'm getting a bunch of referrals. So, and they did that by following the processes here, and they have a predictable funnel to move people through. So on top of that, what happens is you get a mastermind community. So you will now be surrounded with people who are already doing this. All right. So these are people who have gone from I have no idea what to do, and like now I'm getting this figured out. Are out there actively raising capital. So instead of feeling like you're on an island, now you're able to work with other people and get support. And when you get a little bit further along, support other people. The other thing we do is, if you wanted to go move faster, or you're not able to attend one of the trainings, is we have a huge video training library. So there's a bunch of on-demand sessions. Not only does it cover how to use the system, but it covers the marketing and sales process, which is really, really, really important. And this is where we give you the scripts. This is where we give you the outreach script, the sales scripts. We talk to you about how to do the appointment setting, and what to say in the appointment setting, and what videos you need to create, and what does that look like. Okay, so we're very, very tactical on helping you understand all the nuances when it comes to raising capital. This is something that you don't know. Think of it like attending a university course, and you've got a whole training library and system and community of people that are going to help you learn how to do this. So if you struggled with raising capital, again, it's not your fault. It's because you don't know how to do it. So this is going to help you learn how to do it, implement it, and follow a proven system. We also give you dedicated tech support. So if there's any issues, we're going to help you with that. We give you an onboarding call, and we help you get all the back end stuff set up, the automations, the funnels, everything's set up, and we help you get that optimized specifically for you in working with the people that you're raising capital from. And then again, we've got a pretty big template library. So you got plug and play email sequences, things that are already done for you, landing pages, investor presentations, scripts, and more. And then it's very easy for you to customize that for your brand. So not only is it the system, right? Because that's one thing. Hey, this is cool, but I don't know how the hell to use this thing. We've solved that problem for you because we're helping you get it set up. We've got it basically kind of plug and play to get started, and then we work with you on teach you how to use the system, optimize the system, and then how to have the conversations, how to do marketing and do sales. We teach you how to do all of those things. So it's not only the system in and of itself. We're teaching you how to do the work, and we're also teaching you how to get more investors into your funnel. All right. So, a lot of you are probably thinking, Stephen, this is all well and good, but what do I do? How do I move forward? Like, what are the next steps here? Okay, so a couple of things here. I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions. Okay, and I want to help you decide if it's a right fit for you. But more importantly, if you if you're considering maybe it's a right fit for you, what I want you to do is I want you to scan the QR code on the screen, and we're going to drop the link in the chat. And if you are interested in seeing if it's a good fit for you, just book a call. Okay, so this is a no pressure call. All we're going to do is we're going to take a look at where you're at. Okay, how far along are you in real estate investing? Is it a good fit for you? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And if it's not, that's okay. All I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, if it's not a good fit for you, here's the things you need to work on. When it makes sense, come on back and we'll get you plugged in. If it's a good fit for you, then we'll take a look at like what some of the options are and what is going to work best for you in getting this set up, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So worst case scenario is you come on to the call, we have a conversation, and you walk away with some good resources, and you know what next steps are for you. Worst case scenario. Okay. So go ahead and book a call. If that's something that you think would help you move forward, and you really, truly want to get unstuck raising capital, you want a proven system to follow, and you want the help and guidance to get there. All right. So with that, I'm going to go over into the FAQs. I got about 10 minutes, and then we're going to do that. So James, I do see your hand is raised. If you've got a question, I would say drop it in the chat. And there was one other question. Okay, so Andy, you said, this is a no-brainer. However, I definitely don't want to be focusing on making YouTube videos. Okay. Here's the cheat code to that. Do a webinar, record the webinar. That's your YouTube video. That's it. Okay. That's all you really need to do. You don't need to pump out complicated YouTube videos. You don't need to go hire an editor. I would just do 3 or 4 webinars, and then you just get that. And then from there, what I would suggest you do is I would try to come up with two or three short, 5, maybe 10-minute videos that are a nice little short overview. And that's going to be either your lead magnet, but something that you can share with people when they're, first having that conversation. So you do not need to overcomplicate it. Honestly, the thing that I do is I will use slide decks. I do a webinar. We take a recording of that webinar and we upload it to YouTube. You're done. But people care less about how fancy it is and are you guiding them through and answering their questions. All right. So do not get overwhelmed by thinking about YouTube videos. Another thing you can do is there's a tool called Opus Clip, and that you can actually get for free. And what that'll do is if you do a webinar and you have that video, it will create short form video for you. And then you can actually post that stuff out on social media. Really easy to do. So don't overcomplicate it. All right. Let me go through some of these other FAQs here. What if I never raised capital before? Not a problem. And the reality of it is, like, we're going to show you how to do all of this, even if you're starting from scratch or no experience, because at some point, none of us raise any capital. How is this different from just networking or joining another coaching program? I have taken from my background in doing multiple coaching programs. I've done, well, I wouldn't call it group coaching, where I paid for a very expensive program. I got access to videos and they said, schedule a call when you have questions. I've done that before. I've done one-on-one coaching and I've done a hybrid approach. And what I've done is taken the best of all of that. And I've created an environment where you get one-on-one support, you get team support, you get community support, and you get, on-demand support. So there's a lot of different areas where you get support. Okay. And again, it's not just theory, random tactics. These are things that are work, the things that we do every single day. Now you might also say, I'm already posting on social media and have a website. Why do I need a funnel? When you learn more about marketing, everything is a funnel. Like, if you're struggling with raising capital, then you need to learn what a marketing funnel is. You need that, because a funnel, what a funnel clearly is it moves someone from point A to point B to point C to point D. It is a way you move someone along. Okay? That is why it's important. What if I don't have a deal right now? If you don't have a deal right now, now is the time to start raising capital. You want to get soft commitments before you have a deal. Otherwise, you will struggle. Even myself, if I am not getting soft commitments before I have a deal and all of a sudden you're in scramble mode, it does not, honestly, it makes it very challenging to raise capital. So you want to always be raising capital. Yeah, Ivan, you had the question, what's the software? It's called RaiseGenius.ai. So let me be more specific. It is built on the back of an application called Go High Level. The Go High Level is a marketing and sales software, but what we've done is we've gone in and we've tailored it, we've tuned it specifically for capital raising. So another way to think of it is like, buying a box of car parts. And what we've done is we've turned that into a Ferrari. It's a high performance machine that is specifically tuned for raising capital. That's the best way for me to describe it. So it's built on the back of Go High Level. We're leveraging that technology, but we're inserting our expertise in capital raising to help you raise capital in a very easy to follow fashion in a single integrated system. So that is the software, RaiseGenius.ai, but it is built on Go High Level. How long will it take before I can start raising real money with the system? So here's our goal. Our promise to you is, in the first 90 days, we're going to fast track you and we're going to get everything set up. So we have a nice 90-day milestone checklist, and that's going to be, follow this plan in 90 days. You will have all of your artifacts created and everything tuned in. Here's what happens most of the time. In some of my other trainings, I talk about, building the bottom of the funnel first. You have to learn how to, have that conversation to get those commitments. Most people within the first few weeks have learned how to have that conversation and they start raising capital pretty quickly. Everything else is a way to make the process more efficient. But realistically, within 30 to 60 days, most people start raising capital pretty easily. Is RaiseGenius just software? Is it coaching too? So I think I answered that, but it's a turnkey system built on Go High Level, but it's coaching that comes along with it as well. And that's what really makes the difference. It's not just, here you go, here's some videos, let us know if you have questions. we're there with you every step of the way. Can I still use this even if I already have capital partners or co-GPs? So yeah, the answer is yes. But what it does is it gives you the ability to raise your own capital and reduce your reliance on others. The other thing we do here is when you get this, we give you two licenses or two seats. So if you and a partner are going in on this, then you guys can both have your login, but you are using the same platform, if you will. What kind of support will I get once I start? So you get the onboarding calls, you get the live coaching calls, you get the tech support, a community of other capital raisers. And then depending on the level of service you would like, we can work through that, but we can also give you, one-on-one support where we would meet with you, once a week or every other week. And we would actually, hold your hand and help you get through this. So we can give you very, very, very specific guidance on how to do this. How do I know if this will work for me? The answer is if you follow the steps, it works. That's really it. Most people that struggle is really because of a limiting belief that they can't do it for whatever reason. They haven't been in here long enough. They shouldn't be doing this. Um, and that's really where most people struggle. So the biggest limiting factor here is right here. It's the 6 inches between your ears. But once you have all these things in place, it's actually really easy to say, what do I do next? You just follow the next step in the process. All right. All right, guys. So you have been oh, okay. Ivan has a question about the editing software. We use two, Ivan. We use Opus Clip, and that one is really good because what that does is it automatically takes your longer form video and it'll chop it up into shorter sections. So Jolene, if you've got it, you can put a link in there. We use that, and that's like kind of a leverages AI and it does it for you. Another tool we use if you are more comfortable with video editing is we use a tool called CapCut. CapCut is like very common for creating. You can do long form videos, but also you can use it for creating short form videos. I got a bunch of templates and stuff. So we got both of those links in the chat for you. So there's the links for editing software, Opus.pro. That one is AI driven and it will take long form and it'll chop it up, add captions and everything for you. And then CapCut has some AI functionality in it. We use it for doing some editing, but think of it more like a little bit more robust editing tool. You have full control over all of it. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate the attendance. Again, if you guys think this is the right fit for you, you want to explore more, you want to see what else is involved, book a call. We'll have that one-on-one call. Like I said, we'll take a look at where you're at, where you're trying to be, and what some of your gaps are and what some of your challenges are. And if I think it's a good fit, I'll show you exactly what that looks like. And if it makes sense for you, then we'll get you plugged in and we'll get you starting to raise capital real quick. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm going to let you all go. Have a great day. And I hope to see you soon on a one-on-one call. Thanks, guys. Bye.